Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
I'm Joel Alcana, and welcome to Pre-Market Info.
Market rallying here again. We're up 7 points. S&Ps just don't like to stay down. They get one day where they pull back and get close to support, and then they start to bounce up.
Yeah, you sound like you're bored with it, Dennis. Come
It's
on, it's
just
a
this market just continues. This 2013 rally, like if you brought up the chart from the whole 2013, we literally were just up, just a little bit. Just a slow, steady climb. We get the little bit of a pullback, get close to that support level, 1495, and boom, boom, we're right back up again. Wouldn't surprise me at all if we go up there and try to test those highs here in the 1529, 1530 area from 4 days ago.
yeah. We had a little bit of a pullback last night. Got down to 1511.50, but that was short-lived. Got a nice bounce. Just recently made a high at 1523.50. In all honesty, you don't have any major resistance up to the high of the move at 1530 from last week, but you got to believe we'll do a little peeling back before we go up and challenge that level.
Well, we're up 7. It's not going to be straight up there, but I think that's what the market has in mind. Apple here, though, holding up quite well actually from last week. We know we pulled back last week. It bounced there on Friday a bit and continuing to bounce here a bit this morning. It's up another $1.60 with the overall market trading at 452 and a half. What's your take here? This bottoms that this 442, 443 area, is that going to hold here? Are we going to continue higher, or what do you think?
Well, if you a couple things to note about Apple, and I just keep thinking about this. I'm like, if Netflix can go from 60 to 200,
That is
okay,
we'll talk about the Netflix and that's ridiculous.
okay, I'm just thinking to myself, here's a company that makes a lot of money, and it's just been getting the tar beat out of it.
It's
So,
all sentiment. It's just everything
yep.
seems to trade on sentiment in this market. We've talked about it before. Fundamentals don't seem to matter nearly as much as they used to. When stocks are out of favor, they sell them for a long time, and when they're in favor, they can buy them to a ridiculous level. Bring up that Netflix chart. Let's go into this because let's look.
Now I got
Now
me
you get me
fired up.
wound up. Now you get me fired up. You got to mention Netflix. I don't want to see the day. I want to see the 2 month chart. There you go. But anyways, obviously they had the earnings. The stock gaps up to a ridiculous level. We had the whole icon rally before from 60 to 100. Have earnings, catches every short buy. And basically squeeze the hell out of them. Stock continues to climb up, goes all the way up just under $200. Makes a double top of 197.17 and 197.62. And in 2 days, it gives back 20 points.
Right, and now you're sitting on some pretty good support here at 180. So
I don't know if
it's
I think there's any support in that damn thing. I mean, it's starting to look broken here to me, too. Stock can pretty much go anywhere. I think you're going to see major volatility coming up in this thing. If it starts breaking down here and having another, let's look. I would use yesterday's low, Friday's low, 178.43 as your parameter. It starts to take that out. There's just not that much in here. This stock had run from 100 to $200 in basically 3 weeks. That is a ridiculous move for any stock, especially Netflix, which was completely out of favor last year. And I can't understand how it can turn that quickly and everything's all of a sudden great and this thing's going back to $300. I don't see it happening.
well, I know I got you starting this whole rant, but I said the move was ridiculous in 170, and it went to
Oh, I
200.
know,
So
and
you
we
know,
were saying even at 150, it's probably fundamentally ridiculous. But that's what this market does. Sentiment changes. Everybody needs to be in stock. You get a short squeeze going on. You get the shorts. You get the short interest too high, and everybody gets caught. And they just beat them up. So, but going back to Apple, there. Obviously, we've been talking about it for a while. Fundamentally speaking, it probably makes sense to maybe own it in a portfolio. But from a sentiment perspective, things can stay out of favor a long time. Just like Netflix was staying in favor and going to ridiculous, things can stay out of favor for a long time. And if that started to take out that 435 low for whatever reason in the next couple of weeks, that's your cue to maybe hit the exits because then it might get
right.
that $400 level on target. But as long as that 435, 442 area holds, then you at least still have a reference point here.
Well, Kevin points out that Foxconn, the Chinese manufacturer for Apple, has frozen hiring for the first time, which it hasn't done since 2009. So there you are, have some fundamentals. They're not making as many phones, perhaps not selling as many. So there's a fundamental thing. Also, you have Mr. Einhorn with his lawsuit and the preferred and trying to unlock value. So there's been a lot of a lot of negative sentiment. I guess you can construe the Einhorn thing either way.
Yeah,
But what I'm looking at, I'm looking at this from a technical perspective here. Obviously, someone wants out of some stock here at 455 in the pre-market. We've topped out there a few times, had some minor pullbacks. If you want to take a shot at this at yesterday's close, Friday's close, 450.81, you do have a little air underneath that, but you give yourself a couple points after that because I'm looking at this 450 handle, and even I can't find any resistance in it. So that looks pretty open there. If you can hold this 450 area, I really don't see any major. See a minor stopping point at 57.69, but after that, it's going to be 462.73.
and what about Google here? We're talking about Apple. We might as well talk about Google because the trend is still intact here from February, where it's just been marching, marching, marching. We made the double top. We talked about it up there in the 807, 808 area. We got up there a third time up as high as 805.45. It's starting to drift up there again this morning. If it starts going up there the fourth time here, you almost think it's ready to take it out. If that thing started printing 810, it could start rallying again.
Yeah, you've hit a couple highs above 805 here. Looking at the
Premarket.
activity just over the last few days, you've hit some resistance between 805 and 810. 808.97 being the high of the move and the
That's your
all-time
bogey.
high. Yep, and keep an eye on the all-time high close too, 806.85. People would like to keep a mark on that. But hey, you break out above this 808.97 level, and it's off to the races in Google.
Couple stocks in the news here. You want to see one getting beat up? Bring up a chart of AFFY Affimax. This is just absolutely destroyed. Bring up the pre-market chart so we can get a
Of
feel for
course.
this thing. $2.93 this thing's trading at here this morning. They are recalling anemia drug. I'm saying that right. Omentis. Okay.
Omentis.
Omentis. And they're saying and they're citing here on the streams possible deaths here with this. So when you get a stock and there's possible deaths, not good. On 6.7 million shares, this thing's down 83%. So here is a shellacking.
Yeah, Benzinga's reporting that the injection that they have, they found some post-market reports regarding serious hypersensitivity reactions, including anaphylaxis, which could be life-threatening or fatal.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Certainly terrible news. Hard to comment on something like that, except the pre-market here, you hit $2.14. Getting a little bit of reprieve here, a little bit of a bounce. I imagine the people that are buying this, or
Bottom
are the
pickers
people
here,
that
yeah.
are short or absolutely bottom fishing. I mean, really, the only thing this stock is going to recover is if, and I haven't seen any reports of actual deaths, but if somehow it doesn't turn out that way.
Yeah,
But
if the
yeah,
news doesn't turn. I
bad
mean, this is
news.
all trading on news here. This is very hard to trade fundamental or technically speaking. But Joel did cite where the pre-market lows is, and when I'm trading something like this, if I've got the guts to step in and trade something like this, you obviously want to write down those numbers where the pre-market low. Give it to our listeners again. What's the pre-market low so far? $2 and
214.
214.
214.
So
Yeah.
obviously in the
I mean,
regular session, that number does have some relevance now. We're still over an hour from the open, so you never know, it could start drifting down and make a new pre-market low. But right now, as of 8:30, that's your pre-market low. Also, Piper Jaffray actually on Amgen, they're saying that this could actually be good for Amgen, and they raised the price target. They must have a competing drug, and Amgen is trading up. AMGN, it's trading up $1.69 here this morning on this news, 88.55. So if you're looking for a play where somebody might be benefiting from this news, it's supposedly Amgen. At least Piper Jaffray thinks so.
yeah, not a lot of volume at all. This
7,500.
Amgen has hit 88.90 in the pre-market. Going to the dailies here, the stock will find some resistance around that $89 level. You had a high at 89.28 back on January 4th. But if you ask me, and I'm not no analyst, that's a pretty weak correlation there.
Yeah, $90 absolutely huge on that too if it does continue to rally. Couple other ones here we want to talk about. Lowe's reported this morning. They They beat 26 cents against estimates of 23. Also announced a $5 billion stock buyback. The stock isn't up as much as it was earlier, though. It was trading up significantly higher. It's only up 13 cents now here at 37.80. The guidance wasn't great, though. When I'm reading the guidance, it says they see $2.05 for the full year 2013. Estimates were up there, I thought, at 210. So the guidance is not great here, and I think maybe the beat they initially and the buyback was giving it a pop, but now they're looking and analyzing a little bit farther, and maybe they're not that excited about this. Joel, you there? Did I lose you?
38.80.
38.80 was the high in the pre-market. Yeah, so it's pulled back
Right.
over $1 since it made that high.
Right, 37.80 is just kind of where it's sitting. So we are fitting into yesterday's range here. The stock has kind of fallen off a cliff since the 39 hitting a recent high at 39.98. Now you got the drop, and now you're getting the pop here to try and get back into this gap area. The pre-market high
Was
got to
38.80.
38.80. That fills the gap for 38.63. But it looks like you're going to find some resistance in the stock if it can get back over 38.12 and 38.16 were the highs on Thursday and Friday. So it looks like they're using this opportunity here on the pop to let go of a little bit of stock.
Dillard's reported earnings here too, $2.87 versus 2.89, so they missed by a couple of cents. The stock has been on a tear for basically the last couple of years. Is trading down here $3 this morning though on the earnings, so taking it out in 82.14 is where it's trading after closing at 84.92.
Yeah, not showing any signs of a pop here in the pre-market,
Just
just
continuing to
resting
drift
at
down.
the low at 82.14. Looking at the market, you did have some minor support here at the $83 level. We've taken that out. Now you're in this whole gap area here between 82 and 83. A couple tops at just above the 82 level. Looks like you might find some minor support there. Below that, I mean, the 81 handle looks pretty open, pretty wide
But
open
if
as
you go
well.
out a little bit farther here, just to give our listeners a feel for where this stock has come from, go out to like 20, even they even there when you look back in April of last year or of 2012, the stock was trading down here in 50, $55. It's trading up at $85 here now. So obviously the stock has been on a tear. It's pulling back here a bit. So when you have stocks that have moved up 30, 70, 80% here in the last year, when they miss on earnings, they beat them up pretty good. So it wouldn't surprise me if the weakness did continue here a little bit for Dillard's, despite when I was in Denver there just a week ago, actually, on the weekend there. Actually, I was in one of these Dillard's. I never, I don't go into these stores very often. The thing was packed, though, man. There was a lot of people buying stuff. I was in a mall. There was a J.C. Penney in there. There's nobody in the J.C. Penney. And the Dillard's, man, there's hundreds of people shopping in those stores.
Well, if you do get any kind of recovery rally over the next few days, anybody that's holding this stop long term in their portfolio, look for the high 84s. That's where you had a couple lows before breaking down here. High 84s to 85 to be major resistance in the stock over the next couple days.
Triple D DDD is supposed to report earnings here this morning. I haven't seen them go by, but it did do a three for two stock split, so you got to adjust your price on Triple D. 56.95 is where it closed. The adjusted price for the split is $37.93. So I think you had some people that maybe didn't realize it's split or something buying it up in the 40-42 area here this morning, or maybe they're just excited and they know the earnings or something are going to be coming out. Because I haven't seen the earnings go by the tape yet. The thing's trading up still $1.50 here at 39.34 on 50,000 shares.
Yeah, I think someone may have been reading their news log run there. We are starting to find a little support here just above the $39 level. Of course, though, when the news comes out, that will be the driver in the stock today.
Also, we've got moving here is Zynga trading up over 10% this morning. ZNGA, $3.51 after closing at 319. stock on. I think I might be popping on this. And it's no company specific news, but Nevada was passing some type of law, or looking at passing some law to legalize online poker or something. So I think that's maybe what's really lifting the stock here too. I don't know if there's some more news with that or not. That was in the talks Thursday, Friday of last week. It's popping here more, so maybe that bill's getting pushed through here. $3.51. So on 2 million shares. Wow, what a lift here for Zynga.
Yeah, 375 is what we've hit in the pre-market. The recent high's been 360. I believe that 375 number is going to stick out in my head here because, oh, what do you know? We had a double top at 375 on February 11th and 12th. So you're going to find super major resistance between those two levels. For all you long-term Zynga holders, you need to move above 375 to get this
Big
thing
number.
going. Yeah, last time it hit it though, they crushed the thing and took it back under the $3 level. Now the news is affecting it. I think the online gaming with sports would definitely be a boon to this, but pay more attention to the numbers than the news.
Barnes and Noble getting a lift here. Joel Chairman Leonard Riggio, who is the founder, is proposing to buy all of their retail assets here as a real estate. Stock really lifted up earlier. It's pulling back here a bit now. It's still trading up 15.25 after closing at 13.51 on 160,000 shares, but it was trading quite a bit higher earlier on this report.
How many times have you seen this Barnes and
Yeah, I
Noble,
know.
come in on the Mr. Softy news or some kind of news, pop up like this,
Yeah,
and then
give it
end
all
up the
back.
day. Yep, give it back on the day. 1730 is what it's hit in the pre-market. I'm not sure what Mr. Riggio thinks these real estate assets are worth. I know there are a lot of big boxes, around the country, so not sure if that's the best investment for him. But since we've hit that 1730 level, we've peeled back, finding a little bit of support here at 15 a quarter. Perhaps some people that caught that pop up overnight are bringing in some shorts. Looking at the daily for this stock, that's a huge pop. If it gets back again, you had a high at 1727 on December 12th, and then reiterate the high that you had in the pre-market. Well, let's see how close it got there. 1730, so it got a
Yeah,
little bit above that
those old
level.
highs and old lows do work a lot of times when you have news. They go find a spot and it seems to trade up to there, and then they find resistance at that point. Even though fundamental news and you're talking about a potential, basically leveraged buyout or something, usually technicals don't matter, but in some cases they do anyways. And it looks like it went up there to that old level, found some resistance, and now it's peeling back. So I don't think this is going to be one of those cases where it gives it all back, because this obviously is good news for shareholders if there's a potential for them to get some money here for their real estate assets. Johnson and Johnson comments on their Venezuelan currency. Seems like all these companies are commenting on Venezuelan currency devaluation. They do see a 4-cent charge in the fourth quarter, but they reaffirm the full year outlook. So stock doesn't really seem to care too much. Trading up just a bit here on fair value more than anything. 76.39 on 100 shares only. So I guess this Venezuelan currency isn't really news, despite being really news to Procter and Gamble last week when the news algo oversold. It doesn't seem to be too much news here for Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah, keep an eye. Triple top, 76.97 to
70,
77.02. That stock usually does, find major resistance at the whole and half numbers. Here you're finding it at 77. I mean, what can you say about this move in, Tylenol and, skin lotion here? It's just a monster move from 70 to 77. You got to figure it's going to, trying to have some kind of pullback here, but really not until it takes out the $76 level, which it did on Friday only by 3 cents. Could you look for a pullback in that stock? And just along the lines of stocks on major runs here, you mentioned briefly Procter Gamble going to be opening up into resistance here. Thursday and Friday's high, 1719 to 1720. So someone's got a piece of stock to sell there. Above that, you're looking at the all-time high. It's 77.76.
Chevron too. You wanted to talk about there,
Yeah.
Joel. It's been forming multiple tops in the 116 area. It's trading up there in the pre-market again, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You wonder if it's going to eventually break out here and start marching again. If I was using my bogey to say a breakout, that high of 116.84 on February 12th kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. It started to get above there, then you might look at the high of the move, which was 117.5.
Right. This is opening up a little high, so I think, based on fair value, you're going to have some people piling into the stock. If it doesn't get the immediate follow through, what I'm looking for it would be to do to come back down to that close at 115.96, use that 116 area, see if, give it 20, 30 cents, see if it can hold in there. And if not, definitely once you get above this one, multiple highs, the highest high being 116.26, hit 16.23 on Friday, things do open up at least to the $117
Let's
level.
fly back to the 3D because it just reported earnings beaten by a penny here. I'm just going to try to grab the number actually for you if I can. I think it was 37 versus 36. I just flew by on my ticker and I didn't have to write it down. But they did just knock the stock down a little bit here on that initial report. Actually, they knocked it down. The news algo must be reading the news again. That thing just printed down.
Benzinga's reporting a fourth quarter of 19 cents, which may not compare with 38. So
Yeah,
yeah, revenue a little light.
yeah. I think it doesn't compare. I think it beat by a penny is what I'm seeing on my side. But it did initially sell off here, and beating by a penny maybe not good enough for DD. They want to see a bigger beat than that. But the initial news algo knocked it down to 35.33. Wow, on that report just now, just as happening. Now it's trading up at 37.54, so bouncing back a little bit here at 36.52. So we are bouncing around. We're just not really
Yeah, I would
digesting.
say of like all the stocks we've talked about, besides the AFFY, this Triple D, just like Dennis initials there.
My
I
stock.
don't know. I think I would stay off this one today.
This was you got a stock 3-for-2 stock split. You have earnings coming out. This thing's all over the place. It's 35.33 now. It's trading rapidly now. Now they're digesting these earnings here. Now it just traded about another 20,000 shares just as I was speaking in that sentence. 35.35. So making new lows here again. Bring up the pre-market chart just for our listeners there. 34.83. Things going straight down right now. So as we speak right now, breaking our live listeners the information here. 34.5. This thing is in a world of hurt here. 34.40. We
But
better
if you
stop the
want to
shore.
get
It's never going
dirty,
to stop going down.
if you want to get dirty, okay, 33.46 was the low that you had back at the beginning of the year. So that might provide a little support. Will be there, but very, very quickly.
Well, that's our show for today, folks. Have a great trading day, and we will be back with you guys tomorrow.